It's unfortunate, guys, this one's not going to be as funny. With each passing month we find more artists being very open and confessional about their experiences with mental health disorders, anxiety, depression, etc. Setting up a discussion is a step towards killing a stigma, especially in countries with horrific suicide rates, and especially in teenagers as a result of refusal for understanding, ostracism, poor advice, or general lack of support. I wouldn't like to think that many artists out there are portraying mental health struggles in a malicious manner, more that some tend to do it in very poor taste, and here by some I mean one in particular. And Dominic Harrison, otherwise known as Yungblud, takes this to new levels by marketing his entire image with a volatile stage presence, straitjackets and hospital gear in an exaggeratedly psychotic manner, as if to treat the concept and setting of old school psychiatric wards as a novelty. Haha, nudge nudge. Remember when instruments of torture were used to mistreat neurodivergent individuals? Wouldn't that be a fun idea to play around with? Let's use insanity as a novel metaphor. Wouldn't that be quirky and fun? Because this topic is quirky and fun. We might be aware of recent cases like a BB Rex music video for showcasing this kind of thing, but the specific problem with Yungblud is that on this album it seems as if this discussion is something that he would like to respect. I don't doubt for a moment that Harrison has his own dire experiences. There's a reason he wrote it into the record, surely. But nobody considered how framing it like this might have been counterproductive to the open discussion and awareness that he's trying to garner, especially in the young folk who are his audience, whom are especially vulnerable considering they're the fucking target market for this pop reggae ska rock trap fusion landfill. Open that door and slam it back shut, why don't you? It doesn't even need to be stated that any disorder is an awful, anxious and devastating thing to live with, or to know that someone close to you lives with, and for every mention of medication and psychotic kids as some kind of a metaphor for some arbitrary misunderstanding between the youth and the elderly about their personal issues, if you listen closely you might be able to hear a faint wispy sound, as any realization that this could be more likely to add to a stereotype and misunderstanding, blowing right over their heads and flying right into the paper shredder. Then they may as well use said shredded paper as confetti to throw in their next music video for their next song. Although medication and psychotic kids in general are just obnoxious sounding songs in particular, with mocking melodies screamed at the top of both lungs, like the vocal amalgamation of Jamie T and Jabrad Way over the instrumental amalgamation of 21 Pilots and Balwa, I wouldn't be as pissed off were it not for the image and lyrics accompanying them, which are just about everything the song seems to want to offer. Intentional or not, framing this as shock value is extremely tasteless. It's something that I can only imagine those who live with mental health disorders don't want to hear theatricized as if it's some kind of a big playpen toy. So it's even more baffling when you see the next music video with someone flailing around in a straitjacket with red food colouring splattered on their cheeks like it's blood, yelling about psychotic kids, murder, mood swings and insecurity like they're topical prom costumes. For every potential attempt at being open, honest and confessional about the concern for mental health disorders, it slices any potential for being supportive about them by turning notions such as drinking bleach, wanting to shoot your brains out, even getting an elephant tattoo to be self-destructive to your own body. These may have some sentimental value to Harrison, but hearing these twirled into tasteless theatrics for the sake of shock value give me the sense that nobody involved with this record thought this through in the slightest. Maybe they thought one thing through. On the track Polygraph Eyes, they seem to be trying to peddle a message towards creeps who take advantage of drunk women. Here's a dilemma for me. Do I appreciate the song for peddling an undeniably important message, or do I continue to hate it because it sounds just as unfittingly and tastelessly overblown and dramatized as the rest of the album? You know, I may as well do both. The album doesn't seem to give itself much room for likability or even mature discussion. Most of it comes down to being entirely convinced that it's saying something profound, when in actuality it's just going wiki wiki woo woo wiki wiki woo. That's not an exaggeration, by the way. Yungblud literally does that on the first track. And if that's a manifesto for his approach to handling these topics, I am as inclined to respect this album as much as a bloody flatbread. So is there any space for a score greater than 1? I don't think so, Buster.